Hello, good morning, everybody. For you in Mexico, here in Milan is evening, and we have had a quite, let's say, fall standard fall day, a bit cold and a bit rainy. And first of all, thank you to all of you for being here. My name is Amos Bianchi, and I am the academic director of SPD. And I am very, very pleased to be here to introduce this meeting with our welcome guest, Emanuele Viora. And the webinar is going to start in 5 minutes. And I would like to remind you that we will be sending out a registration form during this session. And this is quite essential for you to qualify for a certificate of participation, that you attend at least 22 sessions, the 50%. In addition, I remind you that with the 50% of attendance, you will be eligible for various scholarships offered by universities. And this form is sent during this meeting between the 30th and the 40th minute of the session. And you should register only once. A second information I would like to share with you about this meeting is that it will be recorded and subsequently uploaded to the YouTube channel of the Italian Chamber of Commerce in Mexico. Soon we will enable a section on the website where we will upload all the material of the third edition. So I can see here that in a minute we have already joined 98 participants, 100 in this moment. Thank you very much. And this meeting has the title of Communication for the Real World, and it will be in English, and Emanuele Viora, whom I will present you in few minutes, will be our very, very welcome guest to present this, to introduce the contents of this class. Thank you, Evie, thank you, buenos dias to all of you. So we are still waiting for participants to join the meeting, and now we are around 120. So we have still some minutes before the meeting start. At here in Milan is 7 p.m. 02 in this moment. I repeat a communication for all the students who have joined in the last couple of minutes this session. First of all, thank you for your time. Thank you for being here. And I really hope you will enjoy the contents we are going to introduce during this class about the world of communication design and the way we understand and apply it at SPD in our brand new program of communication design that's going to start on April 2024. I remind you that we will send a registration form during this session, and this form is essential for you to qualify for a certificate of participation, and you should attend, I remind you, at least 22 sessions. That means the 50%. In addition to this, with the 50% of attendance, you will be eligible for various scholarships offered by universities. I remind you that the form will be sent between the 30th and the 40th minute of each session, and you have to register only once. The presentation by Emanuele Viora will last till the end of this hour. And so welcome everybody. It's time to start this meeting. My name is Amos Bianchi and I am the Academic Director of SPD. On behalf of the Italian Chamber of Commerce in Mexico, I welcome you to this presentation, which is part of the third edition of Encuentro Creativo. I'm really sorry, unfortunately, I don't speak Spanish, even though I can understand it a bit, which is a project of the Italian Chamber, supported by the Embassy of Italy in Mexico. And the objective of Encuentro Creativo is to promote the Italian academic offer in Mexico. And let me say that for me, it's the third opportunity to welcome Mexican students in Encuentro Creativo. I warmly welcome you you all to this session entitled Communication for the Real World, and we are honored to have with us today Emanuele Viora. Emanuele Viora is the course leader of a brand new program of communication design of SPD that will start on April 2024. SPD is based in the heart of Milan, the town where I live, where creativity animates and inspires the city. SPD welcomes students from all around the world. This academic year, more than 40 nationalities are on campus. And we are very, very eager to work alongside with top professionals, engage with academic partners, and share our experience with our peers. SPD was founded in 1954, and it is the most ancient school of design and Milan. We have guided in these 70 years that we will celebrate next year with an exhibition and some events. I repeat, 70 years of education in the field of design, and we have guided and trained young talents from all over the world in the fields of communication, of web, of design, of interior design, of food design, and car design as well. And now it's time to welcome our speaker, Emanuele Viora. Emanuele Viora is the course leader of the program of communication design, but he is a creative professional with more than 50 years of experience. And he's expert in conceptualization and supervision of communication campaigns, and he works at Acne. Acne is the branding, marketing, and communication agency of the Deloitte Group. And at Acne, he has the very relevant role of Executive Creative Director. In this role, Emanuele oversees all the agency's creative work for the Italian offices based in Milan and Rome. and he was, let me say that, the youngest creative director in the Leo Burnett network worldwide, and led the Italian Acne team to win the first Cannes Lions in Deloitte's history. And I remind you, Cannes Lions are the most important awards in the world in the field of advertising. He has developed projects for Italian and international brands. Before joining Acne, he has worked with very, very relevant communication agencies like Armando Testa, Leo Burnett, DLB BBDO, and Publicis. Now, we will have the time maybe to chat about the program, but mostly about the contents that Emanuele is going to introduce in his presentation, Communication for the Real World. So I leave, we are more than 200 in this moment, 235, and I leave word to Emanuele. I thank you very much, Emanuele, for your time and for sharing your knowledge about communication with all of us.
Thank you, Amos, for your kind words, and hello, buenos dias to everyone connected. So, a big topic, how to communicate in the real world. This is my first concern when I wake up in the morning, and that is exactly what I ask to my teams in order really to challenge every brief we get from companies in the right way. I would like just to start to tackle this topic with a specific angle, the angle of a young creative. So for me, the question can be, what will be required of a creative person in 3 years? My personal point of view about this is that there are two big elements that will assure a young creative to be successful in this sector in the present, but also in the coming future. First is about the attitude. I personally think and I experience that the world is moving too fast to pretend to know everything. So it is more important to learn an attitude than to learn everything, like the universe of possible knowledge. Because if you have an attitude, the right attitude, then you can adapt. You can adapt to the different situation, to the different briefs, to the different companies you will work with. And someone said also, and is a wise person, when you hire someone, you hire for attitude, not for knowledge. So this is my personal rule, and I will focus a lot during this presentation on attitudes. The second point, which is very important, is that for the same reason, I think companies and agencies, they don't look for experts of everything, but it is very important to choose a sector, to choose an industry. Even if you become a creative and a creative director, it is good if you become expert of automotive, sportwear, fashion, whatever, fast-moving customer goods. What I mean is that today, our clients, the clients of a creative agency, ask for vertical expertise. That's also why when Amos and SPD asked me to design a new course, I basically designed the course based on these two topics. One, for the first part of the course, we teach attitude. For the second part of the course, we really work with real companies in order to become industry savvy and to help also the students to understand if in the future they prefer to work for Nike or for Citroën. They prefer to work for McDonald's or for Gucci. So very, very different kind of sector, very different industries that require very different knowledge. I just wanted to make this quick introduction, and then I will jump on the attitudes. So basically, this is also something that I really share every day with my team and with my clients, the new clients that I meet, in order to share what are the important attitudes that guide our work. And the most important one is also the most difficult to remember every day while doing our creative work, because we are people very passionate about our work, and I'm sure you feel the same. But it is useful to remember that no one cares, basically. People do not care about advertising. And it is a complicated job, a complicated work to make an audience care about an advert. So basically, they are not waiting for a brand to put out the new campaign, the new communication. We need to work hard in order to be relevant for the people, different from the competitors, and consistent with the brand heritage. And I have I'm lucky to work in my agency, because we experienced a lot of different projects with big clients, and especially working with IKEA, we really understood the importance of always remembering that people normally don't care. So what I'm going to share is a commercial dedicated to the very symbol of the democratic design by IKEA, the blue bag. The blue bag is something I'm sure you have seen it many times. It is something that costs like $1, super strong, impossible to break. And the client wanted to dedicate a commercial to that specific product. Let me show you.
Wow, look at that bag. Might be the most hard-working bag in the world. Every single day. Why should function and quality be a privilege for the few if we can do something about it? That question is behind everything we do. So in a way, when you carry this blue bag around, you carry a lot of the stuff we believe in as well.
Okay, but you have seen it. I hope that the sharing works well, even if we are in very far one from each other. So if you have seen it, very serious tone of voice and very important focus on the values of IKEA. But what happened was really unexpected. While working on this commercial, Balenciaga, which is a fashion brand, presented basically a bag that costed like $2,000, very similar, incredibly similar to the blue bag. So we put out a content, this one, on social, with the instruction to recognize the original one, the original IKEA one against Balenciaga, and see what happened.
I didn't know Fracta actually had a name.
I didn't either.
I didn't either. We've got
Bag. Everybody's talking about it. It's from
It's $2,145.
För uppmärksamhet.
左边的包包你应该认识。
Hello, internet fame.
IKEA is saying they are very flattered.
Wow, look at that bag. Might be the most hard-working bag in the world.
That's a lot.
So my point is, in order to make people care about the blue bag was not enough a manifesto commercial campaign, but we needed to really leverage the Balenciaga presentation of a very similar bag. So we have been able really to wave the news and to create buzz and to make people basically care about our story. And that is like just the beginning of this kind of work. Then we did it many times with IKEA, which is an amazing client. But the blue bag was really, I think, the biggest success in recent years for their communication. And for this meeting, I wanted to pick a work from Mexico that I think is based on the same attitude. So no one cares. It is a Burger King work. Probably you know it better than me, but I like it so much that will be a pleasure to see it again.
Just look around. Her eyes, her skin, hair everywhere. The dances, gestures, clothes, optimism, the retro feeling, the vendors, altars, masks, the people, us.
Así es México. Y no como lo pintan los anuncios.
Aspirational this, aspirational that, aspirational whatever. In a country where 59% of people want to buy quality things for a price they can afford. We hire a team of photographers to tour the real Mexico for 2 months to capture our consumers in a way as natural as our new menu. Now without artificial colors, flavors, or preservatives.
Pero si hay miles de jovencitas más bonitas que yo.
Es que sin maquillaje esta foto no te va a servir para un anuncio.
¿Con esta ropa te sirve?
We run a nationwide campaign using hundreds of photos to show how people consume our products for real. Finally, we exhibited them all in one place, in the Photography Archive Museum.
So fantastic campaign done by a Mexican agency, and I think that doing the opposite of what is expected in one specific industry is a good rule to make people care about your communication. So they did it perfectly. Another experience that I wanted to share with you today is the experience we have with Pirelli, one of our clients. They communicate tires, they make tires, and it is complicated because the main point of tires are about technical features, but people don't really care about technical features. So we invented this concept of new tire generation that basically all the campaign you will see is trying to translate technical features in a language that could be interesting for the normal people, for everyone. So this idea of presenting their tires with contemporary performance for contemporary humans. And it's all at the core of the different content we produce for them for the global market. So let me show some examples.
Presenting the new Pirelli P0e generation. We call it more than 55% bio-based and recycled materials. You can call it driving on a sustainable journey. Contemporary performance tires for contemporary humans.
And again, trying to do the opposite of what is expected. This is a campaign that looks like
presenting the new Pirelli
brand.
P0R generation. We call it a UHP tire. You can call it safely enjoying the road. Contemporary performance tires for contemporary humans. Presenting the new Pirelli P0 Trofeo RS generation. We call it semi-slick. You can call it endless fun on track. Contemporary performance tires for contemporary humans.
And I wanted to show you these three different pieces of work, also to say that another way to make people care about your communication today is to create specific content for specific people, no? To be able to create an ecosystem where you talk about different topics to the people who may be more interested. So this is the static key visual and the campaign system. And again, no one cares. I mean, but the point is, let's try to make this campaign look like a lifestyle brand, not just technical features about tires. And I think this is super important. Another experience. I'm going quickly because I would like to share with you some work, but then I will try to stop and save some time for question and answer. It's about a beer, but a beer with a very, very interesting idea. So basically, the founder of this company contacted us with a very interesting brief. The brief was, let's create the champagne of beers. And let's start from the product design. So let's try to understand how it's possible to design a beer bottle that fit in a luxury restaurant, in a luxury bar. And we come up with this idea, very inspired by perfumes and luxury products. That is very, very different from any other beer brand design. And again, I think one of the most interesting part of this work, which is not communication, but is communication through the design of the product, is that this beer now is a very iconic beer in Germany, where they launched it. And just to end this chapter, you may know the Cannes Lion Festival, and this no one care is really one of the most important attitudes that are taken into consideration also in Cannes juries. 2 years ago, I was in one jury in Cannes, and literally every work that you judge, the first question is why people should care about this. And basically, through your work, you need really to prove that no, this work was able to engage some community, maybe little, maybe big, but was able to engage someone. The second important attitude, so first one, no one care. Second one, discover how far you can go. This idea of not putting yourself too much limits. From my experience, I must say that no brief is perfect. No brief is perfect. And every brief can be an opportunity if you consider it like a journey, a path. So you start working, you have an idea, but you can maybe go farther and have a better idea and a better idea. And you need to stop just at the moment where you really feel that, okay, this is the best idea. Once you have the idea, let's try to craft it, to finalize it, to produce it in the best way possible. So discover how far you can go through your work, and also discover the impact that even a small project can have on the field. And this is an experience, the project I want to share, we have with an NGO, Terre des Hommes, and let me show you the case study.
Italy has the lowest score in the EU Gender Equality Index in the domain of work. By age 12, 50% of girls' career aspirations are influenced by stereotypes, rooted in a tradition that marginalized women for centuries. In Milan, the number of statues celebrating great women is 0. That's why Terre des Hommes, one of the most active NGOs promoting gender equality, offered to the city's children a new perspective on the past to make them imagine a different future. Introducing the Discovery Billboards, the first child-height billboard campaign inspiring a change in perspective and inviting children to discover female role models to look up to, like Rita Levi Montalcini, an Italian Nobel laureate who inspired a whole generation, Malala, who encouraged millions of women to fight for their emancipation, and many more. A campaign aimed not only at children, but at any adult who cares about their point of view. And in just a few hours, the debate reached every channel.
Questo cambio di prospettiva è quello che serve in questo 8 marzo.
Terre des Hommes Italia ha lanciato una petizione che ho firmato che si chiama Una statua per le bambine. Anche le donne.
Io sono entusiasta che ci sia questa iniziativa, faremo in modo che le statue diventino statue vere di donne in tutta la città.
A Milano su 121 statue non ce n'era una che raffigurasse una donna, da poco c'è la prima.
Ecco la prima statua dedicata ad una donna, lo svelamento poco fa da parte del sindaco Sala.
So I think this is a great example of this attitude of trying really to discover at every step how far you can go, because it was a small client with no budget, a small idea, working with perspectives and in outdoor, but had a huge impact on social. So the fact that you could substitute the statue of a male with the statue of a woman by putting yourself in the point of view of a children was very strong, a strong key visual, and had a huge impact. So basically, it inspired also the city of Milan to change a little bit the policy with statues. And now, starting from this small piece of communication, there is something different in our city, in one of the squares. One other thing that for me is important is that doing a creative work, especially in marketing, communication, but also in other fields, like creative work should be somehow related to doing fun things with people you love, because it is so hard to do the work that we do, that it is really important to keep enjoying it, keep having fun with people, and also try to work with people you love. And that is super important, especially for me when I hire someone. I need really to think, okay, I can work every day, can stay every day with this person and having fun with him or her. But also in work is important. This is about a project done by Silversea, so a cruise company, where we have been able to work with one of our favorite photographer in history, Steve McCurry. And it was just after COVID, where the world basically was reopening. And we invented this concept of while the world is reopening, don't forget to open up to the world. So go out from your house. I don't know how it was in Mexico, but in Europe, we spent really a lot of time closed in our apartment, in our house. So like people became a little bit closed. They were not able anymore to feel empathy to other human beings. And this invitation from a travel company, from a cruise company, was really to open again to the world. And that's why we chose this photographer, because he created in his career a lot of iconic picture of people, and also his philosophy as a photographer is to really stay close to the stories of people. And that's what we really loved with him. And we developed this print campaign, which is, I think, super beautiful, thanks to the amazing talent of Steve McCurry, that talks about different stories in different parts of the world. And basically, for me, it's really an invitation to travel, an invitation to meet different culture, which is something that, of course, we need now more than ever. I still have 5 minutes, so let me just check. Okay, probably I will jump something to talk about another important attitude that define our work. So we need really to think about the work of a creative in advertising, in marketing and communication, as something that stays at the crossroads of art and industry. Our work is 50% art and 50% industry. So knowledge of the industry, understanding of the business, and it's really 50-50. And I wanted to share with you a project we completed last year for Maserati. Basically, it is a project where we redesigned and developed their global website. Maserati is a car brand, we could say a luxury car brand, that had, for many years, this image of very premium cars, but maybe for grown-up people, for a certain age. Now they are changing everything. They are changing their products. They are creating amazing new car models. And also for the website, they wanted to basically design a new home for a new era. And the challenge when you put your creativity in one project like that is that it's not just about art, it's not just about creating something beautiful, but it needs to work in a design of a website. It needs to be effective in terms of business, because one request of the client was basically to have the website ready for people to buy the car online. Then they don't just put the buy button, but basically you can do everything on this website, really like to configure it, and then when it's time to buy, they want you to meet the dealer, because it is important to have this personal relationship with the Maserati dealer. But apart from that, the function for the website is really important. So. So this was a long story short, and the last one, also because I see that I just have a couple of minutes, then I want you really to save some time for questions or consideration from you, is about curiosity. It is super important, and I'm sure that this is easier for a young creative, and this is more a challenge for like a grown-up creative, but to keep being curious, because it's all about that. All the work we do is about that, and so in order to nurture our curiosity in the agency, we still accept like small clients, but with an interesting stories. And this museum in Milan has a very interesting story, because it is the first museum in the world that applies science to human rights. So they put together forensics, archaeology, and basically with the University of Milan, in order to study and understand the quality of life of people, especially migrants, and how they suffer during their travels, how they die when they die, really to have a scientific point of view on that. Because, you know, it can be political, but it is important to have a scientific point of view. So not I am right, you are wrong. No, something scientific. And they asked us to work on the identity and the logo design. So for the last work, I would really like to show you this design we created for them. Okay, something went wrong, I think, but basically you have seen it. So I'm sorry for the last video, but basically I respected the 45 minutes because I really wanted to also to save some time for some questions you may have. I really hope you enjoyed it. You found something interesting that you can use however you prefer and you want for the future. But again, it has been a pleasure to run this presentation for you.
Thank you very much, Emanuele. It was amazing. Let me say that I have been personally moved by a couple of the projects you screened, and thank you for all the interaction we are having with the students on Zoom. So, we have some questions. So let's start from this one because it's interesting. Do you work with interdisciplinary teams?
Yes, I think basically when I chose to move from an advertising network, a pure advertising network, to a place like Deloitte, that was the main reason, because they let me build a vertical team about creativity and advertising, but we are surrounded by other people that do other kind of jobs. For example, with the Maserati project, we worked with UX and UI designers. We worked with developers. We worked with business strategists. So I think that is really important that everyone can do his own job, but within a wider team, especially for those kind of projects.
Thank you very much, Emanuele. I go on with quite a personal question about you, okay? How did you find your way in this industry when you started your career? Now, we have seen your curriculum. It's impressive. But how did you start? Like your voice or style?
Basically, I think I was lucky because I jumped in a professor in the University of Torino that was also a creative director in a big agency in Leo Burnett. So during the course, I really tried to learn the most possible from him. And after the exam, not before, after the exam, I contacted him saying, listen, this is not just like something I enjoyed to learn at university. I am sure I want to do this job. How can I start? And he didn't hire me, but he suggested to contact one little agency in Turin, which is my hometown, where they needed an intern copywriter. So that's how I started. I was writing booklets and like dépliant. I don't know if it is the same word in English and in Spanish.
Sure.
Leaflets. And that was my first job. Then you start meeting people and learning, and you move to something better or something that is more aligned with your ambition, let me say.
Thank you very much. Very, very interesting. And from that starting point, your career started growing. There's another question that's very, very close to the way we are going to teach communication design into our master. Usually, how long would it take the agency to produce a campaign from generating the idea to seeing the result?
It can be longer because from receiving the brief from the client to the presentation, we usually take 3 weeks, but just to the presentation to the client. Then it depends on the client reaction. It depends on the type of project. But usually is around from 3 to 6 months. That's also why I suggest for a young creative to not change too many agencies and too fast at the beginning of the career, because it takes maybe 6 months to see something you ideated alive, no? So it is important to take your time and stay at least a couple of years in every agency, and then change if you want to change. But to take the time to see the results of your work, it's not happening from night to day. It happened for IKEA, but was a very specific kind of project on social network.
Thank you very much, Emanuele. And how are you going to move this method to the communication design program? How, in your mind, is the best way to teach this attitude, this method, this way of processing communication into the program?
Basically, the second year of the program is all about working with real companies. So getting real briefs every 2 weeks, where students will prove themselves in different industries. And my goal is that at the end of the program, you can have first of all, you can have one industry where you think you can make the difference. You found it, you understood it. And second, you have also a portfolio that can help you to be hired by an agency or by a company. Because my point is that nowadays, a lot of companies have internal creative agencies. So the traditional creative agency is not the only place where a creative person can work. But it's even more important to be industry savvy, because if you go working in the internal creative agency of Apple, they don't request an expert on automotive, okay? They request an expert on that specific industry.
So the approach of the master, in which students are going to face 7 different industries, is to make them aware of the kind of industry they like, and after that to place them into that specific industry in the field, of course, of communication design.
Yes.
We have several questions. Now I try to be very, very fast. In a very, very short sentence, storytelling, how much is important?
Storytelling, no, is super important. It's super important both for the work and for the presentation of the work. And storytelling is also important in your daily life when you need to convince someone or communicate something. It's all about creating the right story.
Thank you very much. I replied to Vanessa asking where we teach this kind of where we teach communication design, and I sent the link from Alex. Sorry, do you remember the name of a Mexican agency that made that incredibly moving campaign?
I think it is GUT Mexico, JUT, like you have guts.
Okay, Thank you
Let
very
me check,
much.
but I am sure. Yeah, I think it's GAT Mexico City.
And this is a very, very tricky question. What are your sources of inspiration?
I mean, we have how much time? 3 hours? No, I
don't
think
know.
everything can be an inspiration. Personally, I think that is important to study other advertisement. If you do this job, it's important to know the trends and to study really what is working, what is not working. So this is not a source of inspiration, but is more an obsession to study, understand the detail of my competitors and try to steal something. But apart from that, literature is the first source of inspiration, I think. For me, literature.
Yes, and I can confirm we have some very, very meaningful and interesting exchanges with Emanuele about the books we are reading and also movies we are watching and so on. And from Lorelai, I suppose Guevara, how do you recommend us to practice our communication skills? As a fashion designer, I feel that I need to clarify more my ideas to success at expressing them. You mentioned the word idea. What is an idea in a communication design campaign?
I think that for a fashion designer, it is very important to think already about how to communicate it, how to communicate the product, because fashion is very specific because the product is the communication most of times. So it's not like that for car design or for food design, but fashion is very specific. Most of the fashion campaigns are just beautiful pictures of the product. So I think probably my suggestion for a fashion designer how to clarify better the idea would be really to try to think about the impact of what you are designing. How, from the beginning, how can be perceived? How can be what are the reaction that can generate the presentation of that specific products? And then what is the idea? It is interesting because I mean the idea. We use the same word, but everyone can have ideas. I mean, it's impossible for a human being not to have ideas. But what we call an idea is something that can define a specific territory which can be relevant for the people, consistent with the brand, and differentiating from the competition. That for me is a core creative idea. Then it would be long to explain how to write an idea. For sure, I can give you a book suggestion of a book. The name is Advertising Concept Book, which is very important and explain basically a lot of things.
Thank you very much, Emanuele. Yes, I feel this strong connection between communication and the community in several of the works you have screened, and the Latin root is it's basically the same, to think about how to engage people with your communication. There's another question that's for me, I am 47. It's a very relevant question. How do you keep from Sebastian, how do you keep your creativity flowing in a world where everything is moving so fast? For instance, my son is 13 years old. He's on Twitch and TikTok, and really, I must put some effort to understand these medias.
Totally. And I think to share the right attitude is the key. So if you have the right attitude, then you can adapt. If you think to know everything, you will stop doing this work. I think it will be impossible for me to keep doing this work the moment I say TikTok is bad or Twitch is nonsense. No, you need to adapt and just have this attitude that is more strong the curiosity than your point of view. That's the key.
And about this, I rephrase a question from Maria Fernanda. Which is the social platform that in recent times has surprised you more than other ones?
For me, it's TikTok, definitely.
TikTok?
Because before TikTok, social networks were about trying to show your best self, while TikTok is about showing your true self. And for me, it's super funny. TikTok, I spend a lot of time on TikTok, maybe too much.
Okay. Okay, good to know. I don't, but I will absolutely consider your advice. Briortis is saying hello to you, Emanuele, and asking you, do you have any tips for develop an insight for a great campaign? Yeah, that's what we do in the master. In the 2-year program of the master, we try really to move students, from a good knowledge, a basic knowledge of communication, to create great campaigns that are made of design, are made of ideas, are made of interdisciplinary support, for instance. But anyway, that's quite a process, a very, very intensive process. And in our program of communication design, it's what we want to do. And yes, one last question. This one. I saved it for last. Do you have a favorite fashion campaign?
Favorite fashion
yes,
campaign?
blank page is so difficult to answer to that, but anyway, something that surprised you maybe in recent times. Or if you want in some other fields.
No, in fashion, I mean, I think that what Gucci has been doing in the last 5 years, when Alessandro Michele was the creative director of Gucci, was able to surprise everyone at every season. Not especially and particularly the advertising of Gucci, but the fact that they were able to transform everything in an advertisement for Gucci. They had clear ideas for catwalks. They had clear ideas for events. They had clear ideas for websites. So I think there is no some specific execution, but everything that Gucci has been done in the past 10 years or 5 years very surprising.
I totally agree. Thank you very much. And let's say a last question. Let's go back to communication design. And from Diana Kavla, she says, thank you for such great presentation. I would like to ask how companies have took this change in the way the communication of their products. She rephrased, what are the challenges during working with companies and get a result, basically? In your opinion, what are the main challenges in working with such brands?
The main challenge is that normally human beings, they tend to avoid the risk. Problem is that if you don't take risk, you end up with something totally transparent. So you need to really prove your proposal, because if it is a good proposal, it has a risk inside. Every good idea has a risk inside. So you really need to prove it, to use data. Today we can use data to back up our ideas and really present it and support it in the best way possible, because it is also and always difficult to sell a good idea.
Thank you very much, Emanuele. I think our time is over and we have almost answered to almost the question. I sincerely thank you to you, Emanuele, for your generosity and for your presentation, and it really has hit myself a lot. What we want to do at SPD is to transfer this knowledge, this deep knowledge about the field of communication into this new program we are launching in April 2024 of communication design. And we are receiving from a lot of people, thank you very much. We are the ones thanking you for being here for this hour, for having given us 1 hour of your time to chat with us, to listen and watch the presentation made by Emanuele Viora. And I thank a lot also the organizer of Encuentro Creativo for this amazing opportunity to present this program. So
yeah, really,
I
also
think,
from my side, thank you very much. It has been a pleasure. And I see that in Mexico, a lot of interesting things are happening from a creative perspective. So I just wish you all the best for the future.
Thank you very much. So thank you, Emanuele. On the behalf of the Italian Chamber of Commerce in Mexico, I would like to express also my gratitude for the presence of all of you to this session, and I extend my thanks to all the brands that are part of Encuentro Creativo, including Essilor Luxottica, Zegna, Phoenix, Aeromexico, Max Mara, Cartel, United Colors of Benetton, among others. I remind all of you that Encuentro Creativo's partner universities offer scholarships, and so you can find the eligibility criteria on their website in the scholarships section. I remind as well that it's essential to attend at least 50% of Encuentro Creativo sessions, so please make sure to mark your attendance during the sessions. Thank you for joining us. Don't forget we have many more sessions ahead of us. Another one with SPD tomorrow about with Francesco Facin about new frontiers of product design, and I hope really that this hour has been interesting to you, as it has been interesting to me, and I really wish a good day in Mexico. Here in Italy, it's night, and it's time to have dinner. So hello, and thank you very much to all of you. And grazie Emanuele. See you soon.
Grazie a voi. Ciao, ciao.